Look at my cute huz. He got a fresh cut today. Can't nobody tell him nothing. I tried. I couldn't tell him nothing.
She couldn't. What is up, guys? It's Twin Soul Poets.
Poets.
We are your go-to couple for love and relationship advice
Dope, extra dope spoken word poetry.
and other uplifting content. That was very harmonic.
It was melodious.
Melodious and
sounded like
harmonic.
the monk's chant.
Oh.
Uplifting content.
Today we want to talk about how to deal with loneliness and being alone even when you really want a relationship.
One of the most powerful things you can do to deal with those feelings of loneliness is to embrace it. Embrace it fully and embrace it with courage.
Yes, just take that loneliness and just be like, loneliness? And just embrace it. And
Oh, thank you
and
so
just
much.
pull it close and just...
So on our first date, we were very open with each other from the start, and we fell onto the topic of our aloneness and how that we both feel like that we'd kind of embraced that in our lives, right?
Yeah,
That
we were
was-
both definitely in a stage of like just sort of being at peace with it and trying to take advantage of it almost rather than like wallowing about not having someone.
And kind of finding everything it has to offer. At which point, Hamilton pulls out this poem by Hafiz.
It goes like this. Don't surrender your loneliness so quickly. Let it cut more deep. Let it ferment and season you as few human or even divine ingredients can. Something missing in my heart tonight has made my eyes so soft, my voice so tender, my need of God absolutely clear. So I just thought that was like really beautifully said, and you know, when I read it, I was like, man, I feel that, and especially like let it ferment and season you as few human or even divine ingredients can. Like, you know, there really is something to that. It builds to something.
And for me too, like when he read that to me, it resonated deeply with me too, and it really spoke to finding beauty in unexpected places. In my life through different things, like I've learned that some things that felt very hard or sad or some things I grieved over at the time had this kind of beauty in it, like the beauty in the aching, the beauty in the breakdown. The song by Imogen Heap, like there's this beauty that if you let yourself like kind of open to the rawness
Right.
and the like vulnerability of that you can find this kind of peace.
Cut to really cool synchronicity moment, twin flame synchronicity.
Twin soul synchronicity. Flash forward to our wedding night.
You like that fast forward? We're pulling up to the hotel at like 1:30 in the morning that we're staying at, and check out the license plate tag on the car right in front of us as we park out front. Are you freaking kidding me?
Talk about full circle. I mean,
Like-
so a poem about loneliness was the start of our relationship, first of all, which I put in one of my poems.
And it just happens to be the freaking license.
This is
like,
our life.
like on our wedding night. It's so weird, dude.
But also kind of a
So
lead into what
weird.
happens when you surrender to flow.
And sort of an affirmation of everything we're talking about, right? Like what the poem is about, the value of loneliness. We wouldn't have connected that way if we had not been valuing our aloneness and deep diving into ourselves.
This is something we actually did. We actually took a lot of time to like be with ourselves and we're still doing that. We're still working so much together and separately, but like this is stuff we actually did. So we say this confidently and like really encourage you to just try this and to see where it takes you and to have a new perspective on that feeling of being alone and say, wow, maybe there's some treasure there. Maybe there's some things I can learn, which really leads into our next point about this.
Yes.
What if you thought of loneliness as a tool to get to know yourself better? That was a huge shift for me in my perspective. It had nothing to do with my circumstances changing because I was still single. But when I decided that that was the opportunity for me to kind of prepare myself to be the kind of person that I wanted to be for a relationship, it shifted the way I felt about it.
Yeah. Opportunity is a great word.
Every kind of transition of your life can have something really good to offer if you're willing to see it. But one trap that we find a lot of people falling into is using a relationship as a distraction. This kind of pairs with the idea of loneliness for some people is so scary because some people might be afraid of what they might see.
Yeah.
Being with yourself, you'll hear your own thoughts, or your beliefs might come up, or your emotions will come up.
Right. Almost like a Band-Aid for something that, some kind of emotion that you don't really want to feel. Maybe there's a certain brand of sadness in loneliness sometimes, and even if you are savoring it, it doesn't mean you don't feel that sadness from time to time. But I think what that Hafiz poem was all about is like there's juice inside that sadness of aloneness. There's things that strengthen you and build your character and sort of create this sweetness and the real connection that comes after the fact.
It's also a disservice to the other person to be needing to be in relationship with them because you can't be alone. That ultimately is not the kind of connection that will get you to like real intimacy and depth, not death. It's not that serious.
Real intimacy and then you die.
Can feel like that sometimes. But like the depth, it can, well, I guess, look, things happen, you have a slip. It can feel like a death sometimes when you're facing these things, when you're facing these deep parts of yourself. I mean, it can literally feel that intense. These emotions are live inside you, and especially ones that you've carried around for a long time. But I think that it's important to recognize that you want to be able to be in relationship because you're coming from a place of readiness and love and awareness, and not because you're afraid of being by yourself.
And I think that's easier to do when you're just coming out of a relationship and maybe you had sort of a tough breakup or you're really missing the person. Like, it's very common for people to want to go for like a rebound hookup or like, and then you get involved with somebody else right away because you're just trying to sort of fill that void that you feel from the absence of the other person.
Or also not feel the pain.
Right,
of the breakup.
What that does is it kind of prevents you from having the space and the quiet time to reflect on, like, what did that relationship leave me with? What did I learn from that? Even relationships that end, and even if they end in a bad way, like, all relationships have something to teach us, I believe. If it's a certain level of intimacy, like, there's something valuable to be learned there, and sometimes you need that alone time to really be able to just reflect for a while and think until you figure it out. We mentioned that loneliness eliminates distraction. You can really get clear on what is it that you want, and this is like one of the biggest keys to starting and creating a lasting, valuable relationship, because if you don't even know what you want, it's going to continually cause conflict in relationships because you're going to be mad at your partner for not being able to give you what you want. But how can they if you don't even know what that is, right? So to be able to get clear on that within yourself allows you to be communicating it clearly to your partner, and it just makes things a hell of a lot easier.
For me, I love to journal and write. So for those of you who like to do that, that could be really good opportunity to get yourself a journal and take some time to write out your feelings, write out your epiphanies from your aloneness, write out exactly how it feels, let yourself express, today it's been really hard. Today I had a lot of sadness come up. Today I thought about my ex. Today I had a random childhood memory come up, because those are little like kind of crumbs on a path that could lead you to these really awesome readiness for love and also healing. Yeah. So it's all in perspective. I'm not telling you that your situation is going to magically change because you do these things overnight, but I do think that the perspective that you have about this time alone can absolutely encourage the manifestation of the kind of love that you want in your life. Like, ironically, like we always say, we would hate when people would tell us they're gonna show up when you're not looking. Like, I'd be like, shut up. Like, nobody wants to hear that when they're single. Like, it's the worst thing. But I think what that really means is that when you get to that place where you have that kind of peace, like we did, about our aloneness, it's almost like a beacon that other people can see. especially if they're in that same place. Like you and I happen to be in that same place at the same time. It's almost like it lights you up. It's like a signpost, and it doesn't feel like that desperation of, oh, I need somebody, I'm looking for somebody, because you're probably going to attract in another desperate person when you have that kind of energy.
When somebody else connects with the sincere you, then it sparks fly. You're not putting on for anybody. You're not trying to impress anybody, right?
It's like the warts and all kind of thing. There's something very welcoming, inviting about knowing that a person is like a human being and not like an Instagram post,
Yeah.
knowing that someone is willing to like be real about their flaws and their fears and the things that scare them. When you meet someone and they open up that way, it's really attractive. And this time in your aloneness is where you can cultivate and get to know all of those things so that you can be 100% yourself with whoever is on their way to you. The last benefit we want to share with you about this alone time is the opportunity to create space. So this can be done on multiple levels. For one, it can be done in your surroundings. So that could be feng shui, setting another place setting for somebody who, you're expecting to come into your life. In feng shui, they talk about having a nightstand on each side of your bed because that is that symmetry and that balance that you want in your life. It invites someone in, not having your bed pushed to the wall, for example. You can look up a bunch of really interesting stuff about that. And actually, it worked for me. I saw a lot of great kind of shifts in my energy when I started doing that, because it got me excited about this person who was going to come into my life. Also, you can do that on another level, right?
Yeah, like just having the alone time also just sort of energetically creates space for something new and amazing to come in, that deeper relationship that you want. If it's going to be committed one, you're going to have a lot of time and energy available for that person. And sometimes if we're just spending time and energy investing in little flings or fun, having fun relationships here and there, it's going to be hard to have the space for somebody new and for something deeper to initiate and develop if we're sort of have those energetic ties to other people still. So there's a lot of value in just like cutting old ties if they're not really serving you on the level that you're really yearning for, to give yourself space for that new person to walk in, because you want to be ready for them when they do show up.
And if you truly do want that kind of love in your life, then you have to have the courage to let go of everything that's not that. Mm-hmm. Even if it was comforting to you before or familiar, know that step of courage will be met by the universe. The universe does not like a void, right? So, I mean, it's just going to be like, it's a magnet. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole irony of they'll come when you're not expecting it thing.
Right.
That's it.
And if you're sort of proactively setting the stage for that person to come in, then you don't have to meet them and then after the fact try to clean things up and make amends and cut loose ties where you need to and try to get the space ready for them because you're like so excited that you met this person. It makes all that so much less complicated when you're just sort of ready for it,
And they'll feel so welcome. Yeah. They'll feel so welcome when they come to you. And energetically, people can feel when there's a desperation or when there's an invitation. And this is a time where you can say, I'm inviting them in and I cannot wait for them, but I also am at peace with the waiting.
So that is pretty much it for our discussion of aloneness. Like Hafiz said, don't surrender your loneliness too quickly. Let it cut deep because there is value in
all those seasonings.
Yeah, it seasons
the dill and the
makes
cayenne.
You delicious for your twin soul.
And the chili powder and the paprika.
Yeah, all that.
It's all
the
good.
Sriracha.
The sriracha of it all. So just let us know what else you'd like us to talk about. We know we've got a lot of great response about talking about twin flame dynamics, relationships, the whole journey. So we'll definitely be talking about that more.
Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah.
Hit the like button right now. Hit the subscribe button right now if you're not already subscribed. And we will see you guys soon.
We'll be back soon. You guys got this. We're rooting for you.
Yes.